Good morning. I'm just gonna do my morning skincare routine and I'll pop in and out sort of. And anyway, I was gonna talk about dermaplaning or shaving your face, which has become very popular and for people to do at home. And I've never shaved. So I'm going to start by saying I've never shaved in my life. I know a lot of women shave their legs and things like that. And aside from a little bit of shaving maybe once every 3 months under my arms, I've never had to shave my entire life. I have like 3 hairs on my leg and 1 on the other. So, I kind of just pluck them out. So I've been very fortunate in that I've never had to shave in my life, and I'm not like hairy. And the husband always laughs because he thinks it's absolutely hilarious and amazing that I've never had to shave, but he also likes it that I'm not hairy. It's such a guy thing. Anyway, so I'm, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm 52 and menopause has struck. But in the last, I want to say year, I have noticed that my face has gotten fuzzier. I'm not going to say hairier because it's not hairy. It's basically these like fine peach fuzz baby hairs, or vellus hairs is the correct scientific term. And anyway, so I was like, oh, I'm getting fuzzy. And I don't think you really notice it. Like people looking wouldn't really notice, but I kind of peer really close into the, what's that thing called? Mirror. And it's obvious to me, and I didn't think it was very cute. So I started looking into shaving it. And the term is dermaplaning, but there's like, dermaplaning that you do in like a cosmetic clinic's office versus, the stuff that you do at home. And I was researching, what you could do at home because I wasn't going to spend a lot of money doing this myself. And I found on YouTube there were a lot of videos where people were using, blades like this to do it on their faces. And I researched dermaplaning or face shaving, whatever term you want to use for it. But basically it's just to get rid of the hairs on the face. So I researched it and because I've never shaved in my life, I was very nervous about the whole thing. And I watched like a gazillion videos, tips, tricks, benefits, how-tos, and everything. And and there's a lot of information out there, and I kind of had to wade through a lot of information. And different people are going to say different things. So the things I learned was there are some people who just use like a regular razor, like those, cheap razors that you use to shave your legs. And there are people who use like these, dermaplaning razors. And there are those people who say, do it dry, do it wet, do it with a shaving cream, And I was very nervous about doing it dry because, I've seen Steve, the husband, shave, and he swears by using a really good shave oil, a good shave cream, good razors, with really good blades and things like that. And obviously it's different for him because he does this all the time. Not every day, but, you know, when he was working, he did it every day. But working in an office, I mean, not like not working. But, you know, now, because we're home and we work from home, he'll shave if we go out. So he might shave sort of every second or third day, depending on our schedule. But it was just, there was an overwhelming amount of information. And there was, I wouldn't say contradictory information, but there was a lot of very different information. And anyway, so I shaved last night and I didn't film it because it's long, it's slow. I don't edit my videos. So, you know, you kind of just get what you get. And it could get pretty boring. But I wanted to talk about like what it is and my experience. Because, you know, I've had my mom ask me, what is dermaplaning? I've had a friend say to me she's thinking about doing it. And, you know, everything I've watched says it's very good. It exfoliates the face. You know, it makes such a difference to the penetration of your skincare. And it's, what else? And that your makeup goes on a lot better and a lot smoother. And I'm a real novice at this, okay? I've really only been doing it for several months, and I only do it like once every 10 days to 2 weeks. I'm doing it a bit more now because, I don't know, menopause or whatever it was, the hairs seem to be growing faster. And it's not cute. Well, I don't think it's cute. Anyway, so the first time I did it, and I didn't know anything, I used the razor that looks like this. They're very inexpensive and you can buy them. They're the Tinkle razors on Amazon. You can buy them, you know, anywhere. They're like at the chemists and things like that. Different styles, different designs, different price points. These were inexpensive, so I bought a pack and I wanted to try them to see, like, you know, how they would go. The first thing I did, because I was super nervous about doing it dry, was I did it with a shaving cream. And when you're new, you will, even though you're careful, nick yourself a little bit. And a lot of videos will tell you to do it dry. But I did it wet, or with a shaving cream or with the shave oil, because I was nervous about nicking myself, and I was nervous about the results and, you know, all that sort of stuff, and the glide. And I've discovered that the first time I used like a shaving foam and it covered my face, I couldn't see my skin. And I kind of did that a couple of times, and I kind of got to the point where I realized that I wanted something to give my face glide, but I wanted to be able to see, you know. So you know how when like a guy shaves, they cover their face in shaving foam and you just see all that white stuff. I found that it was better for me when I could see my skin and see what I was doing. So like a shave oil or a shave cream that's not foamy and not covering the face, you know, worked better for me. And when it came to blades, these are very inexpensive, but the blades are not very good. And depending on what you get, some of them are absolute rubbish, because if you look at them, I don't know if you can see if that works, but you know, it's got like little ridges, and one of them, the ridges didn't line up. I had to chop the whole thing out because it literally looked like they were like little pointy teeth sticking out, and it wasn't like a smooth blade. So there was that. And then there were people on some videos saying, oh, I just used a normal razor. So I tried that. That didn't work for me because I've got a beauty spot here, a beauty mark here that's raised, and it's hard to get around that. And I ended up cutting myself, and the butter did not stop bleeding for a very long time. That was not fun. And so, you know, I nixed that idea. That was not for me. And I felt like I didn't have as much control. It was faster, but I felt like I didn't have as much control, and it wasn't really good at like going through like the nooks and crannies and the contours and things like that of the face. And then the whole dry thing, I was just too nervous to do the dry thing. But what I also discovered was, so last night I went through and I did the dermaplaning, and it's, I don't know, my 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time. I haven't been keeping track. But what I've discovered is I like these types of blades because I have more control and I do it really easily. And for the big areas of the face, it's good to have the oil or the shave cream or whatever to give it some slip and some moisture, and so you don't accidentally like catch or nick yourself and things like that. And you know, the one thing I do emphasize is you do have to be very careful and very gentle. And I don't want to say I learned that the hard way, but I did, you know, when I tried to be faster or try to be more efficient, because it was taking a dang long time, it just didn't work for me. So last night I did it. I took my time, and I think I've come to the point where I was ready to talk about it because I've got it down to a technique where I think it works for me as a beginner, as somebody who's never shaved in her life, and who had to do a lot of Googling and searching and watching a lot of videos to learn all the ins and outs about it. And so the few things that I've learned that have worked for me and may or may not work for different people depending on their experience was that I like having the shave cream or foam or whatever for the face to give for the initial shave. And because that gives the what do you call that? The blade, something to slip on, and you know, it's gentler and safer and all that sort of stuff. But then I also noticed, or I've noticed in, you know, from previous shaves, was that around my lips, because I'm trying to be really careful and not cut myself, and around my lips and sort of along my jawline, I was kind of missing spots, and I wasn't being as accurate and thorough as I would like. So I'd look in my mirror when I'm getting dressed or putting on my makeup, and I'd notice little fuzzy hairs all around here and some along here, you know, almost immediately after I did the shaving. So what I did was I did the shave last night with the shaving oil and the shaving cream, which worked great. And then I put on my skincare, let everything calm down. And all I really do is I use just a really gentle, like, essence, and then a really calming moisturizer. I don't use any actives right after, because when you shave, you know, you've taken off that layer of skin and you've exfoliated. And so things are very exposed and very raw. I don't know why men put alcohol on their faces after shaving. It just, I don't, because the sting would be terrible. And, you know, so gentle stuff. And then, you know, once that's absorbed and I settled down and I went to sit down to sort of do like the last bits of my evening skincare, which was just some brow serum and lip balm and eye cream. And I noticed that I still had hairs around my lips, and I tried to be careful, but it's hard. So I'm sitting right up close to a 5 times magnification mirror at my dressing table. And then what I do is I use this, and I very carefully, very gently, doing it dry because I can then see the hairs, and under really good lighting, very carefully and gently just go all around here and here just to get rid of the little bits of fuzzy hair. And then I did like carefully around like my face where I could see, you know, some other bits that I missed. And then you can kind of like brush it off your hands and you can like see like little fuzzy powder bits, and you know you've like got rid of some stuff. And so I did that, and that 2-step thing worked for me. And that was, I think, good, but time consuming. And, you know, I don't know if it's for everyone or if anybody wants to actually spend that kind of time. But that was what worked for me. And that was through a lot of trial and error and experimentation, because a lot of the people who make videos about dermaplaning are very experienced and have dermaplaned a lot. And I know this is not a how-to video, but they, you know, they kind of go, and it's like, wow, it's done. And, you know, oh, look how smooth my skin is. And for somebody who's never done it before, that's not the case, because you're nervous, you don't know what you're doing, and you want to be careful. You don't want to cut yourself, which I like, not cut myself badly, but, you know, like just little nicks and micro tears on the skin, and you don't want to do that. So, you know, it took a lot of like learning and experimentation while I was doing it to get to the point where I kind of think, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with this technique. I know what I'm doing now, and I think I'm comfortable enough that I can sort of talk about it. But the videos are very good for talking about the benefits and, you know, what you get out of it and why it's good for you and things like that. And it does help that some people show what they're doing and what the technique is. But what I didn't get was the fact that it was a learning experience, the fact that you have to be careful and go slow, the fact that you kind of have to experiment with some trial and error with like what blades work the best for you and what style razor works the best for you. And the fact that, you know, it doesn't actually take like 3 minutes and they're done. It takes a while, especially if you're, you know, wanting to be careful, not wanting to cut yourself and you don't know what you're doing. But it does eventually, I think it will get better and it will get faster. I hope it will get better and it will get faster because, you know, gosh, I took a long time last night and sometimes I put it off for a day or two, even though, you know, I have a reminder in my calendar to do it because it's like, I just can't cope with this tonight and I just don't want to deal with this, you know, tonight kind of thing. So, and that's where I'm at. But last night was good. And I did go over it, like I said, a second time dry and just got all the bits that I missed. So I guess my point is I'm making this video to say there's a lot of really good information out there if you want to learn about it. But I didn't find a video of somebody talking about their experience and like what they went through and what they had to learn in terms of, you know, being a beginner and what that was like. So that's kind of the point of this rather rambly video, which I hope kind of makes sense and sort of explains dermaplaning. Okay, one last thing though. There are a few different types of, well, there are a lot of different types of razors and a lot of different brands that make them. And they vary in price from like $3 for a 6-pack up to, this is a Tweezerman one. I love the Tweezerman brand, and this is really nice, and it's really good quality, and it's really well made. But a refill blade, and that's like, you can replace the other ones, they don't, but this one you can replace the blade. And I think you can buy them for a pack of 4 off Amazon. But, you know, the razor itself was, I think, about $30. And then the refill blades are, I want to say, somewhere between $4 to $8 each. I don't remember exactly because I'm still on the first one, and I've only used it like twice, and it still feels good, and it still feels sharp. And it is a lot better than this. And in my early days of experimenting, I did find that I was doing a better job with this than I was with this. This, you have to be a lot more careful and a lot gentler because the blade's not great. But it's very inexpensive, and I can see why a lot of people recommend it and a lot of people start with it. I got a 12-pack for, I don't know, $5.95 or $4.95 or something ridiculous like that. So I have this, and I do prefer it. I am trying to use this up because I don't want to chuck them out and throw them away because, well, you know, these things are, it still costs money, and I don't like to waste. I also have this tiny little one. I think I bought this from Daiso, I'm not sure, but it's teeny tiny. And it's good for, I got it for all the little nooks and crannies and, you know, around there. And it does work, and it's good, and it's very, very gentle. So I do like that. And then the last time I was at Daiso, I got a 3-pack of these, and that was $3.80, $3.60. I'm not sure. I know prices have kind of gone up a bit in Daiso too, and they look like this. They've got some other ones that look like really scary, which I didn't get. So I have no idea. And these are all metal, and I have no idea if these are any good, but they look like this. And they're big, so I'm a bit scared to try them, but I will try them to see how they are. You know, in general, when it comes to shaving, Steve always says, you know, while, you know, you don't need to pay a lot of money and things don't need to be very, very expensive, the more, sometimes price does correspond to quality. And I do agree with him on that. So, you know, you just need to make your own decision on what you want to pay and what you want to use and what you prefer. Because I watched a video where this lady loved just using like a regular cheap, you know, $5, those pink chic, you know, 10-pack shaving razors, and that's what she uses with shaving cream. And then a lot of people say use those tinkle razors and do it dry, and a lot of people, and then there are other people who say do it wet. And you know, when you're new, it's kind of like, well, what do I do and how do I do it and who do I listen to? And it's a lot of experimentation to kind of figure out what works for you, because skincare is very personal. And I think that dermaplaning and shaving, especially if you're doing it yourself, is also very personal, because you need to figure out what works for you and what's the best technique. And really, your skin does feel wonderful after, and it's soft, and, you know, it's just, it feels great. It's soft and it's smooth and really nice to touch. I haven't quite figured out if it looks good under makeup yet, if makeup looks better on top of it yet, because I've kind of been in that situation where I haven't done a great job, and I'm hoping that today when I do go and put my makeup on, it will look good because I've done a better job of it. And then there's so many factors because, you know, there's the skincare and there's the foundation and whatever you put on top of it. And the last few times when I've done it, I've always sort of found like right after, when my skin is like super duper duper smooth, I didn't think it looked nearly as good as when there was a little bit of fuzz on my skin and my foundation looked better and sat better. So I have a little bit of experimentation to do on that and try to figure out if it was my primer, if it was my foundation, or if it was that it did look better with a little bit of fuzz on my face. Because I always thought that like my foundation started to look good again and not so slippy and slidey because the skin was too smooth and it didn't have anything to stick on after like 3 or 4 or 5 days when the hairs started growing back again. So I kind of need to play around with that and figure that out. So, well, that's it. I was long. I hope that was helpful. My skincare has been done ages ago, so I'm going to go put on the rest of my face and get on with my day. Bye. Okay, hi. This is going to be a really quick video. I just filmed me rambling on for about 20 something minutes about dermaplaning and shaving my face. And when I finished, I said, I'm not sure, but I don't like, in the last several times that I've done it, I don't like the way my face looks with makeup after. And I have found, because I've watched a lot of videos and I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you know, your makeup goes on so much smoother, everything looks so much better. That's not the case for me. And I've tried it with different primers, different foundations, and foundations that I know work and generally look good. So I've just dermaplaned my face last night. So this is sort of like freshly shaven face, and it's smooth, it feels nice, it's soft, it's wonderful. But for me, makeup does not look good on it. And when I say makeup, I'm talking about my foundation. My nose was just a complete disaster, and I ended up having to powder over it, and the rest of it kind of looked all right. But then when after I powdered over it, and I don't know if it'll show well. Yeah, I don't know that it's gonna show, but I can see that like all around here is very patchy, and a lot of the foundation, you can probably see it a bit better here, has like bunched up and gotten into my skin foldy pore things. I don't know what you call it. And it looks really patchy and like it's rubbing off in bits and clumpy and things like that. And it's just not cute. So I think I know for sure now that my makeup doesn't look good if I want to wear foundation the day after or a few days after shaving, dermaplaning my face. And I kind of find that my foundation looks better sort of day 4 onwards when there's a little bit of hair growing back on my face. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't have any explanation. And I'm one data point. But that's kind of the situation that I'm experiencing. And what I tried before was, which I find has worked, is just primer and powder. And the powder can be a light powder, it can be a powder foundation, you know, kind of like whatever, but just primer and powder. But when I want more coverage and I want sort of like a better, you know, more made up day, if I'm going somewhere, makeup, foundation on top of freshly dermaplaned face like the next day. Not cute on me at all. So that was pretty much what I just wanted to hop on and say.